Warren's appeal for donations to the Red Cedar Peace Initiative. I'd be remiss if I didn't make an appeal for the magazine. We've been around 100 years. I could only get a few issues, so there's just 2 left. This is our centennial issue, which we've just come out with, and it contains articles from the entire 100 years, the century of our existence. 1 page dedicated to each year, and we've been around so long, barely, and we depend, as Blanche DuBois says in Streetcar Named Desire, on the kindness of strangers and on subscriptions and donations. So please, our website is progressive.org, and you can actually subscribe digitally now, as I was telling Warren. It doesn't even have to be the print edition, and they're very reasonably priced, $12 for a year, $1 each issue. So it can't be more reasonable and cheaper than that. So I thought I'd get that in. And we're, of course, we are Wisconsin-based. So please. Having said that, yeah, I will be talking today about nonviolence and just the tradition of nonviolence, and how, contrary to what a lot of people, even sympathetic to nonviolence, think, it has worked, how it has worked under very difficult circumstances in different parts of the world. In areas you wouldn't think it would work, under regimes you wouldn't think would be amenable and responsive to nonviolent mass movement. The notion that a lot of people have of nonviolence is that it was people like Gandhi and King, the 2 most famous proponents of nonviolence. And the reason that they were able to make it work is that they faced relatively benign regimes, be it the United States government, and state governments also, I guess, in the South, or the British colonial regime in India. Now, even this is not the complete truth. I mean, civil rights workers were murdered in the South with the collusion of the local police. Mississippi Burning is about that. Even the FBI, which is where the movie deviates from the truth, was not very helpful very often. In India, the British carried out a number of massacres on a mass scale, the most famous being in Amritsar, but in other places too, where hundreds were killed at one time. So these weren't necessarily very benign regimes, but they weren't also, of course, they were far from being complete dictatorships, and they were at least somewhat responsive to the demands of these movements, be it for equal rights for African Americans in this country, or for Indian independence. And in the end, of course, famously, they both gave in, so to speak, and that's how we have happy endings. But most people think, so what? I mean, they work with in these circumstances. How about others? Well, I wanted to start with the general and then get down to the specific. A study last year in a political science journal covered more than 300 instances of violent and non-violent movements from 1900 to 2006, and found that non-violence worked in twice as many instances as violence in terms of getting results. In other words, non-violent mass movements were effective 53% of the time versus 26% only for violent movements. And this is a comprehensive study of 323 instances over the past century.